Welcome everyone to this presentation on OpenAI API and the chat endpoint. Myself Arya and I am engineering student at GT College of Engineering. Today I am presenting topic from the field of prompt engineering titled chat endpoint with the help of this animated PowerPoint presentation. I will try my best to deliver my thoughts and explain the concepts in the most simple and understandable way. In this session, we will explore the powerful capabilities of OpenAI API, focusing on the chat endpoints, a versatile and intelligent tool for building conversational AI applications. This is very similar technology behind ChatGPT. By the end of this presentation, you will understand how to use it in your own project to unlock the full potential of large language model for solving real-world problems and creating innovative solutions. Now let's explore how the chat endpoints actually works and why it's powerful for building intelligent real-time conversations. The chat endpoint is designed for multi-turn dialogue, meaning it can remember past interactions and respond with context, just like human would in a conversation. This is made possible through a structured message format that handle different role and preserve context. Let's break this down into three parts. First, API endpoint. This is the URL where application sends chat request. Um, this is specific location on OpenAI server that accepts chat style input and returns response from models like ChatGPT 3.5 or GPT-4. Second is message structure. Messages are organized using roles. The system message defines the AI's behavior or personality. For example, you can tell it you are a friendly tutor. The user role is what the person say, a question, instruction, or statement. The assistant role represents what the AI has said so far. This helps it remember previous answer and maintain flow in the conversation. The structure allows the AI to behave more consistently and contextually across long interactions. Third is example message. Here's a simple but powerful example. Here, the first role is of system and the context for it, you are a tutor. Second role is of user and the context is explain Ohm's law. The assistant receive this and replies based on role it was given. In this case, as a tutor, and the result it answers just like a tutor would. And at the end, it gives a formula that is V is equals to IR. This is how structured message combined with role definitions gives us natural, educational and powerful conversational AI. Now that we understand what the chat endpoint is and how it's structured, let's see how to actually use it in a real program, specifically using Python. Interacting with the chat endpoint is very straightforward when you use the OpenAI Python SDK. This slide show you the complete flow from setup to result. Step 1, Basic Setup. Here what you need to do, first obtain your API key from the OpenAI platform. This is like your personal access pass that allows you to communicate with the models. Second, make sure you authenticate your request by including the key in the header using authentication bearer your API key. Third, send a post request to the chat endpoint with two main components, the name of the model like ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo and a message array with system user or optionally assistant role. Step 2, Python example. Here's a clean example in Python. Import OpenAI. It's the OpenAI library in the Python. OpenAI API key equals to your API key. It means the API key you obtained from the OpenAI platform. Then response OpenAI chat completion dot create, in which you justify your model that is ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. Then message in which you specify the role and the content, where system has the role of the tutor and user gives the content what is capacitor. Step 3, Result. The response you receive from the assistant might look like this. This kind of answer is exactly what you would expect from a teacher or a textbook: precise, informative, and easy to understand. This example proves how easy and powerful it is to integrate the chat endpoint in any project, from chatbot to learning platform. And as engineer, once you know this, you can start building real functional AI tools. This slide gives a step-by-step comparison between the chat endpoint and the older completion endpoint, helping us understanding why the chat endpoint is better choice for most modern application. Let's break it down row by row. First is input format. The completion endpoint accepts a single plain prompt, like a block of text, but chat endpoint is more organized. It uses a structured message list with defined role like system, user, and assistant. This gives us much better control and flexibility. Second is conversation memory. Completion model don't remember anything from earlier prompt. Each request is treated in isolation. On the other hand, the chat endpoint remember previous messages and use the history to respond more intelligently. This makes conversation feel continuous and natural. Third is role control. With the completion endpoint, it's hard to control the behavior of model. You have to craft the prompt very carefully. In contrast, the chat endpoint makes this easy using the system role, where you can define the assistant's tone, personality, or behavior, like saying you are a polite customer support bot. Fourth is multi-turn conversation. To create a back and forth interaction with the completion model, you would have manually stitched together all past responses. That's not efficient. The chat endpoint has a built-in support for multi-turn dialogue, so the conversation flow naturally with less code. Fifth is model. The completion endpoint uses text DaVinci 003, which is older and more expensive to run. The chat endpoint uses GPT 3.5 Turbo and GPT 4, which are newer, more advanced, and much more cost effective. And last is ease of use. Finally, the chat endpoint has a clean structure and makes it easier to define the intent behind each part of the message. Completion, by contrast, is less structured, which can lead to the inconsistencies or unclear behavior. So, in summary, for building anything interactive, contextual, and efficient, the chat endpoint is superior in every way. It's simpler to use, smarter in response, and better suited for modern conversational AI system. And that brings us to the end of this presentation on OpenAI API Chat Endpoint. Let's quickly recap what we have learned today. We understood what the chat endpoint is and how it works using a structured message format with roles like system, user, and assistant. We explored how to interact with it in code using Python and OpenAI SDK. We saw how the chat endpoint is superior to the older completion endpoint, especially for multi-turn conversation, memory, and behavior control. And most importantly, we discovered how this tool can be used in real-life applications, from AI tutors and chatbots to coding assistant and content generators. This technology is not just for big companies, it's something we as engineering students can learn, experiment, and build real solutions from. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of this session. I hope you found it helpful and are inspired to explore and create using AI. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.